Good evening, everyone. We'd like to apologize for the viewing public for getting a late start as we worked through some technical difficulties. And it is my understanding that we are not on Suddenlink Channel 10, but we are streaming on Facebook and the city's website. I'd like to welcome everyone to the meeting this evening. Commissioners, welcome. I'd like to welcome our city manager, Mr. Howalt. Thank you for being here. Also, any department directors that have joined, city staff, welcome. Thank you for being here. And again, I would like to welcome the viewing public, as we are not open to the public to join our meeting in person, but we do encourage the public to join our meeting in the various ways that you can view it online. We also invite the public to call in with any comments or communications that you have for the commission, and you can do that by calling 575-763-9200. We'll begin with a apologize for the viewing. Excuse me, I heard an echo. We'll begin this evening with a prayer, and then we will honor our flags. If you would pray with me, please. Our Heavenly Father, thank you for the many blessings that we enjoy because of your goodness and your grace. Lord, we ask that you would bless our meeting this evening. You would guide our hearts and minds as we make decisions. Lead us to be good stewards of the city's resources. And Lord, we thank you for the privilege of serving in this way. We ask your blessings and protection over our community. We pray for health and wealth and prosperity. We pray in the name of Jesus. Amen. Join me in honoring our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the symbol of our friendship among united cultures. Our meeting is called to order. Will the clerk please call roll?
Commissioner Levitt?
Here.
Commissioner Madrid?
Here.
Commissioner Casals?
Here.
Commissioner Elliott?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant?
Here.
Commissioner Garza?
Here.
Commissioner Rowley?
Here.
Mayor Morris?
Here. Thank you, Ms. Reyes. Commissioners, next is approval of the agenda. You have had the chance to review the agenda before someone moves to approve. I am aware of a couple of rearrangements or removals. Although it's not an action item, we did have a planned presentation under petitions and communications, and we will not be hearing from the Plains Regional Medical Center charity. And also, we are striking item number 5 in the consent agenda. And additionally, we have one applicant for lodger's tax instead of 2. And so that would actually fit right into the consent agenda. So I would entertain a motion to place the lodger's tax appointment at item 5 in the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, can we also add number 4 on the new business? Request for approval of determination not to require a second side distance waiver for Shogun Japanese Steakhouse. I don't see a need to debate this item. I think it's been done in the past and nothing has changed.
Okay, thanks for bringing that up, Commissioner. Advice?
And Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, and that doesn't require a public hearing, does not require a public hearing. So
right.
It would be eligible.
Okay. All right. So we'll move that. That was item 4.
Item 4.
Under new business, we're going to move that into the consent.
And with those changes, I move for approval of the agenda.
I'll second that motion.
Motion to approve with those changes from Commissioner Garza, second from Mayor Pro Tem Bryant. Commissioners, please vote.
Can we?
No.
Roll call.
Ms. Reyes, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Oh.
No,
There we go.
There it is.
All right. Voila.
Sorry.
There we go. All right, now we have a vote. 7 in favor and none opposed. So the motion is carried and our agenda has been approved. Thank you, commissioners. Next, we have approval of minutes. The minutes from the Thursday, February 4th, 2021 meeting are in your packet. You've had a chance to review those. Are there any corrections or changes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve from Commissioner Casal, second from Commissioner Garza. Commissioners, please vote. By a vote of 7-0, the motion is carried. The minutes have been approved. Next, recognition of visitors. I would like to recognize and welcome the applicants for the District 4 vacancy that have joined us in person in the room this evening. We look forward to hearing from you when we reach that point in the agenda. Thank you for being here. I'd also like to welcome anyone who's joined us virtually, and we look forward to hearing from you when we reach the point in the agenda that you're here to share about. We have nothing to deal with in proclamations, awards, or presentations. And so that would bring us up to receipts of petitions and communications. Is there anyone that has anything to bring before the commission this evening? And hearing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. Okay. Commissioners, as you know, this item is placed on the agenda so that the commission, by unanimous consent, can designate those routine agenda items they wish to approve or acknowledge by one motion. If any proposal does not meet with the approval of all commission members, or if a citizen so requests, that item will be heard when it's reached under the regular agenda. We now have 15 items on consent this evening. The first is the motion to place. The last is the motion to approve or acknowledge. So I will read items 2 through 14. Item 2 is request for approval of adoption of ordinance number 2414-2020, zone change, RS 170 residential single family to RS 7 residential single family, Iris Arbor subdivision. Item 3, request for approval of adoption of resolution number 3053-2021 for preliminary plat of Iris Arbor. Item 4, request for approval of adoption of resolution number 3049-2021 to condemn and demolish dangerous building located at 708 Edwards. We talked about putting, let's see, number two, okay, so number 2 under new business, I'm going to read that as item number 5 on the consent so I don't get off track there. Item 5 under consent now is request for approval to appoint one representative from the hotel industry to serve on the Lodgers Tax Advisory Board. Item 6 is request for approval of adoption of resolution number 3051-2021 to condemn and demolish dangerous building located at 204 Wallace. Item 7, request for approval of adoption of resolution number 3052-2021 to condemn and demolish dangerous building located at 440 Mercury. Item 8, request for approval of Burn JAG grant reverted funds from 18-JAG-REG5-SFY21 for $62,400. Item 9, request for approval of quote from K. Barnett and Sons Incorporated to install road crossings for affluent reuse Phase 2 improvements. Item 10, request for approval of emergency budget transfer to repair animal control unit number 6. Number 11 is request for approval of shooting range change order 1 for Duke City Builders. Item 12, request for approval of task order with Moles and Corbin for the design of precision approach path indicator lights. Item 13, request for approval of task order with Moles and Corbin to develop a storm water pollution prevention plan for the Clovis Municipal Airport, recently renamed Clovis Regional Airport. And lastly, we have request for approval of determination not to require a second site distance waiver for Shogun Japanese Steakhouse. Commissioners, that is your consent agenda. I would entertain a motion to place the indicated items on the consent agenda by unanimous vote.
I make a motion, we go ahead and approve the consent agenda.
Second?
So you're moving to place the items on the consent agenda?
Yep.
And we have a second motion to place from Commissioner Madrid, second from Commissioner Garza. Commissioners, please vote.
Yes, sorry. I carried away.
By a vote of 7-0, the motion is carried. Now, I would entertain a motion to approve or acknowledge all items on the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Garza, second by Mayor Pro Tem Bryant. Please vote. And by a vote of 7-0, the motion is carried and the consent has been approved. Next is introduction and adoption of resolutions and ordinances. One item there this evening, Commissioners, it is request for approval of adoption of resolution number 3054-2021, declaring the intent of the City of Clovis, New Mexico to issue taxable industrial revenue bonds in the principal amount up to $18 million. Commissioners, you have in your packet information on this. This is the Exenia LLC project that has approached the EIB now twice, and this evening is the second time that this has been before the commission. However, it is different. The terms and some of the other details are different than when you last looked at them. I know that we have joining the meeting this evening, Mr. Chase Gentry, or Mr. Howalt, did you want to?
I was just going to
Okay.
say that Mr. Gentry is with us this evening to present this item, Mayor.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Howalt. Mr. Gentry, welcome, and we'll give you the floor to present this to us.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, glad to be with you tonight. We began working with Exenia LLC back in August. We had looked at ways that we could help them with their new hotel that's going up on Prince Street. We had looked at the potential of an industrial revenue bond and originally came to you guys about a 20-year industrial revenue bond. After the discussion at the City Commission meeting, Exenia came back with a reconsideration of the application to look at a reduced term for the bond. Most of you I just have a couple of pictures here of most of you have seen it up north of town going up. It's a dual use hotel. It's a Home 2 Suites and a Hampton Inn. And Mr. and Mrs. Kumar and Danny Jerwala and a number of others are involved in the project. The facility will create 28 jobs. It will have about a $750,000 a year payroll. It'll add 149 rooms into Clovis, and most of you know that when we have big events at the Civic Center or big conferences, we have limited hotel rooms. So this will help us create more chances to win those things like the Municipal League and others to come to town. The company came in and said, how can we look at something that would be beneficial to them but yet limit the amount of incentives based upon the concerns that some of the commission had. So based upon the county assessor's estimate, typically this project would pay about $78,973 a year in property tax. With the IRB and like I said, they look at 11 years instead of 20. The $750,000 in payroll. And we figured up the payment in lieu of taxes to the city would be $414,610, and then the city can decide if they want to give that to other entities. The total tax incentive of the company net after they pay for the IRB is $364,610. So the average incentive per year for the 11 years is $33,149, and for that 28 jobs, it's $13,000 a job that this incentive would bring to the project. Now, just something that you need to be aware of, and some people had asked, they're still going to be paying gross receipts tax and lodgers tax on their sales. So on every $1 million in sales that they make, it'll bring in $131,850 into all the entities that tax through GRT and through the lodgers tax. And they estimate about $565,000 worth of goods that they'll buy and services they'll be purchased locally in Clovis with this facility. And so we prepared a chart based upon what they had, the Eib Subcommittee had looked at and what they had asked for. So from years 1 through 6, there'll be a 30% tax abatement or 30% payment in lieu of taxes for the project. And in year 7, it'll go to 44%, year 8, 58%, year 9, 72%, year 10, 86%, and then year 11, they pay 100%. And then after year 11, it'll go on the tax rolls, and the county would assess the property tax and go back go back into the tax rolls. We did figure in the $50,000 IRB cost as an expense into that tax that they're going to have to pay to bring up that tax incentive, which brings that to $364,610. We just one thing I wanted to mention, the Kumars, during our conversations, the Hampton Inn went into bankruptcy on Mabry Drive, and they actually were successful in acquiring that facility, and I know they're in a full remodel right now with that facility, and they're going to create 12 to 15, I think, jobs is what she told me, into that facility. 12 to 15 jobs that'll be brought into that facility, that'll be brought back into this community that were lost after that facility closed. So overall, if you add in those jobs, it's about $8,892 per job coming in if you add in the jobs from that other project also. This is the on the screen, the remodel that's going on, and they're renaming that facility to the Sleep Inn, and 55 rooms that'll be up and running soon. So with that, that's I know there's a number of other people on the line, but that's my presentation on that.
All right, thank you for that, Mr. Gentry. Just to be clear, the second property that you told us about, it's not connected to this ask or to this IRB. Is that right?
No, I just wanted to bring to the attention that they're making a big investment in that other property too. There's no incentives tied to that, but at the end of the day, it's it's great that they're putting some additional assets into this community.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Gentry. Commissioners, what's your will? There are some others that want to present on this, but are there questions right now or comments right now? I want to check with you first.
I have nothing at this point.
Okay. All right, very good. Mr. Gentry, who else has joined that wants to present on this?
I know that Mr. and Ms. Kumar are on, and then Mrs. Brumfield, they had told me that she might want to make a couple of comments. And
Okay.
Then, yeah.
Mr. or Mrs. Kumar, we would be happy to hear from you if you like.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Like as you guys know, we're Dinesh Pareen Kumar with Zenia LLC, and we're investing in that new hotel up on Prince. We're facing higher costs due to COVID, and that is the reason why we came back to the board to see if they would consider a shorter term. We, like Chase had mentioned, we are very heavily invested in the Clovis community. We lived there for 18 years, continue to invest in the community in 2 separate hotels. We're here to answer any questions. Gayla is here as well as Davo. He's also a partner in the hotel. And Gayla, if you'd like to say a few words.
Thank you, Mrs. Kumar. I appreciate you being here. And yes, Ms. Brumfeld. I think you're muted, Ms. Brumfeld.
There we go. I was clicking the wrong one. Can you hear me now?
We can. Good evening. Good to hear from you.
Okay.
You have the
good
floor.
evening. Thank you so much for allowing me just to say a few words. And my point is going to be strictly on the value that the Kumars have in our community. I met them several years ago when my husband had a nursery out near where Walmart went. So we were, after Walmart went in, we were able to sell some land that the nursery was on, and the Kumars bought it, and they put that nice little strip center there that has UPS and those other things, and it's a beautiful facility. They keep it so clean all the time, and I figured out probably what they have paid in property taxes on that over the years, and it's been, I would think they probably pay at least $8,000 a year on that property, and they've had it for, I can't remember, probably at least 15 years. So, and they have updated it, and it's a real jewel, I think, for that part of town. So I've known them for a long time, and I know that they stand by their word, and they really work hard. They took the Portales in and completely made it an unbelievable project. I was blown away when I went over to see it. So they put a lot back into the community, and they're, and I think what they're doing, and I realize some of the questions that may be out there is that this sets a precedent or whatever, and I believe that it in these times that we're in, things are different now. And when I was mayor, I'll just give this little short story because it kind of goes along with this. The base was expanding, and we needed some housing. So Chad Leidick and his partners wanted to build that 200-unit apartment complex. Well, FHA was having some struggles with it because they didn't think the city of Clovis was participating enough in it. So I actually went to Fort Worth and met with the FHA officials, and they said their exact words were, well, does Clovis have any skin in the game? Well, we really needed housing because the base was bringing in more people than what we could really accommodate. So came back, and because of the anti-donation law, we had to do some different things. And what we did, it wasn't a huge amount, but we were able to redo the way that we do our permitting is some sewer and garbage, and that's when we restructured to where it depends on what size of housing that you build, what your cost is. So it was a little bit, it wasn't a whole lot, but it made the difference. And FHA went ahead and went along with it because they said that Clovis was there to help, and they knew that they were going to be a partner with it, even though it was minimal. Well, that's kind of the way I feel about this. It's not a huge amount. And will it blow their deal? No, probably. I mean, they've got the building going, but I mean, it looks wonderful out there. But will it make it look better to their investors or to their lenders? And absolutely. You know, I know for a fact the building prices have gone up. I talked to a contractor the other day, and because of COVID, the framing package that he paid like a certain amount for 8 months ago or even a year ago is 3 times higher what it is now. And so prices are going up because of COVID, and everything has changed. We're in different times. And so I don't really think you'll be setting a precedent because I don't think you're going to be having COVID again, hopefully. And this particular $18 million project, I don't imagine that we will have very many more of those. And I know we need the hotels. It's hard to find a hotel. Let's take out last year because that was different. But on a normal year in Clovis, it's hard to get a hotel. And so I appreciate that they're willing to spend $18 million on that one project when they've already spent a lot of money in the Clovis area and the Portales area. So I would just like for you to to really look at this and see that it's not, it's not a huge amount, but it means a lot to them to have a partnership with Clovis. And it's to me, you can look at that 200-unit complex that Chad was able to do, and that is a beautiful addition to our community. And they are running 99%, occupancy. So I believe this is very much needed. We need the two. I love the idea of the two together. And so I would like for you just to look at the benefit that is going to generate more than the minimal amount that is going to be the tax incentive. So with that, I would appreciate if you would support the Kumars and help them only with trying to get their investors and their lenders and some of their cost that has gone up unbelievably, recouped through this. And it's a good thing for the city. The city can partner, and then you will receive, your benefits and grocery receipts and lodger's tax and all the things that I won't reiterate what Chase has gone over, but it will create jobs. So, and I believe the EIB did support it. I think that it did pass there. So I just would like to see some good economic development come into our community. And I believe that this is one that, that does benefit this. And it's because of these times that we're in that they're asking, because they would not be here if we were in these times. So I appreciate your time and listening to me. And if you have any questions, I would be glad to answer those.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Ms. Brumfeld, former Mayor Brumfeld. Do we have anyone else that has joined the meeting that would like to add to this discussion, please?
Mayor, Joseph Blosky's on with the EIB board. I think he needs to say a few words.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gentry. Mr. Blaschke, good to see you virtually this evening. I'll give you the floor.
Thank you. It's good to be with you folks. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, City Commission. I'm here as a representative of the Economic Incentive Board. I'm a recent appointee to that board and excited to serve in that committee as a citizen here in Clovis. We looked at this package a month or so ago, and I really like how Chase summarized it in his presentation for us today. As far as a cost per job created, because our job on the Economic Incentive Board is to ask, what do we have available to us to get or to retain or to incentivize businesses to stay in Clovis and benefit us economically? And one of the hugest factors there is job creation. And the reality is spending $13,000 a piece to create sustainable infrastructure jobs at hospitality industry at a time right now where the hospitality industry is shrunk by virtue of situational government orders to 25% capacity with no real long-term solution in place until vaccines are distributed and the full economic recovery is realized. This thing could be years down the road. And we have the opportunity to help this hotel get off the ground and get running and get 28 people, more or less, full-time employed in our city. And that has an outsized huge impact on homeownership rates, on our kids being in schools, on the whole community at large. And I don't see any reason from the Economic Incentive Board to not do the deal. When it was first presented and discussed by the City Commission, there were two major points of concern. The first of which was that a 20-year industrial revenue bond was a long-term solution to a potential short-term problem. The Xenia Group has come back and asked for only 11 years, of which the majority are phased. So they're still paying a portion of the deferred tax anyway, not going without the entire amount, which I feel is reasonable to address that first concern. The second concern was that the other hotel owners in the area may feel that this is an unfair competitive advantage, and that as a startup hotel, they were getting favorable treatment compared to what other hotels received. To which the ownership group went and visited with multiple other hotel owners and received signatures on a letter presented at the EIB stating that they had no problem with and in fact would support the city passing this industrial revenue bond for the Xenia Group. Those hotel owners cited the fact that there are many federal and state level programs, loan programs and grant programs that were enacted under the CARES, the Coronavirus Relief Act last April, which the Xenia Group is not eligible for because they were not open and in operation as of February of 2020. They had, however, already broken ground on the construction and already committed significant personal assets and costs and incurred long-term investment obligations to our community. But because they were not open and operating, they were not eligible to receive any benefit under the CARES Act and other grant programs that have been available to the existing other hotels. And so those two concerns, in my opinion, and in the opinion of the EIB when we met and discussed and voted on this, was that those two concerns had been addressed. And so we recommended to the City Commission to review this again and to hopefully receive it favorably. And I appreciate your time and the opportunity to visit with you tonight. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Blaschke. At this point, any comments or questions from the commission?
I do, Mayor.
Yes,
if I can.
Commissioner Lovett, please.
And I need to point out, I do have some business relationships with some investors of Xenia, and so I need to make that public, but that position does not influence my vote in any way. I would like to point out that I believe Mr. Blaschke works for Bank of Clovis, and I believe that there is some related business dealings there. Is that correct, Mr. Blaschke?
That is correct, and I'm glad you brought that up. One of the components of an industrial revenue bond, once it has been approved by the city to be issued, is that the business in question has to secure long-term financing for the project in order to pass the underwriting and actually issue and fund the IRB. And I'm happy to tell you that that financing is already in place and will continue to be in place and accessible to the Xenia Group. And so that checkbox for the IRB and whether it will qualify is already attained. My relationship to the Xenia Group and the Bank of Clovis is not such that I have any influence over the deal one way or the other. So I am aware of it. I know that it exists, but it does not influence my vote or opinion on this in any way either. But yes, Mr. Love, thank you for pointing that out.
And thank you for that. And I just wanted to point out to the commission, I have had a couple of phone calls from those on the EIB board. Yes, some did approve that. I think there was one dissension, but their feeling, the two who called me, were that it was up to the commission to approve or deny, not up to the EIB board, and they didn't want their passing of that to reflect their opinion that it was something that maybe needed to be done. And so I wanted to bring that to the commission as well. Got other things to discuss, but I think we probably have some others that want to talk as well, but I did want to bring that up. I thought it was a good time for that.
Yeah, thank you for that, Commissioner Lovett. Any comments or questions? Is there anyone else that has joined the meeting that has something to present related to this item?
Danny raised his hand. Danny Jarawala.
Mr. Jarawala, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, City Commissioners, and city officials who've joined this meeting. As it has been brought up by Mr. Chase Gentry, that I, as existing owner of a Super 8 and a Best Western, also has a small partnership in Exenia LLC that we've decided to invest in this project. I, as an owner of a Best Western and a Super 8, signed that letter of support as well. I would like to let all this whole City Commission know. But just as Mr. Blaschke said that his vote on the EIB board did not have any effect of any of his alliance with this project. Similarly, on that vote, it's the same exact thing that I would say. That if it was not Exenia LLC and if it was some other hotel too, I would have voted I would have signed that letter of support anyways, is because I know as an existing hotel owner, what resources we had from the CARES Act to continue doing business and not go belly up, again, reiterating that this project it broke ground before. The qualification process happens to be February 2020. I just also wanted to let you guys know that hotel industry, and we have submitted a letter explaining certain points and which I would like to refresh it in terms on records, that hotel industry is one of the industry where you don't need like a huge college degree or any big qualification that you would want to start with, who cannot have a dream of reaching the top of the job position, which is a general manager, you know. I do have somebody also online who happens to be my general manager at a Super 8 and a Best Western, and I would probably take a pause and I would like to give a feel to him so that he can share his thoughts about it. When I shared, along with him, I shared about the Exenia project and how this would, like, you know, work hand in hand with the city. Also, and it's a win-win situation, like, as in it's gonna benefit us to cope up with the inflation of the cost of building. We never intended, when we initially put this project up, to never had even a slightest of idea to come to city commission with this kind of proposal ever in mind. So I would like to give this, at this moment, like to give this stage to my general manager, who could share some of his thoughts and his experience about
Okay,
how
that-
anybody could dream in our community by this hotel going up.
I appreciate your comments, and we will hear from your general manager before we move on to discussion and debate about this. So what is your general manager's name, please?
Ryan Sharp.
Ryan Sharp. Mr. Sharp, you have the floor, please.
Alrighty, thank you. Like you said, my name is Ryan Sharp. I'm the current general manager for the Super 8 and as well as the Best Western here in Clovis. I am a born and raised citizen of Clovis. I graduated from Clovis High School in '06. I really didn't know what I wanted to do after I graduated, so I ended up applying at the Super 8. Back then it was actually the Best Western, but I applied there a couple of years after graduating and was hired on as a desk clerk. Probably 4 years after that, that's whenever Mr. Jadiwala, Danny, purchased the properties, and the front desk manager position became available, and I was offered that. So I accepted that offer, and then just a year after that, the general manager position also became available. And Mr. Jadiwala, offered me this position, and I gratefully accepted it. It's been a really great experience for me. I've learned a lot, and I think that just someone my age and my education background, having that opportunity to advance in the hospitality industry, it's just a really good opportunity for somebody else. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sharp. Appreciate you joining the meeting and appreciate your comments. Commissioners, Commissioner Lovett made a great point earlier, one that I wanted to make because I've had this thought as I've thought about this. I chair the Eib Subcommittee, so this was presented to our subcommittee, and it did receive unanimous support from our subcommittee because it fits. It's legal within our ordinance. It's allowable, if you will. So we thought it was appropriate that EIB look at it again, and then I think it's certainly appropriate that EIB recommended it to us because as the elected commissioners and representatives of the citizens, you're the policy makers. So just because we've never done this before doesn't mean that we can't start doing something new. And the fact is it's allowable under our ordinances. And and we've just never been asked. We've never been approached by this, or approached with this type of project before, a hotel IRB. And to that point, Mr. Gentry's doing his job and doing it well by working with a client and looking for ways to take advantage of allowable incentives that are offered by the city. But on the other hand, I think as you think about this, not that I want to tell you how to think, but we gotta look at this and say, well, while all that is true, you know, does this project fit the spirit of the ordinance, and the spirit being creation of high wage jobs, you know? And we've heard about the jobs and the amount of payroll that this project is projected to have. And there's no question that the Kumars and their partners are fantastic business owners, and that their businesses and this property are tremendous assets to our community. And you know, that is true, and I wanted to recognize that, but that's not, you know, it's been explained that this project is going to happen regardless, that the financing is secure. I have a feeling that these jobs will be created regardless of what we do. So I just wanted to share with you my thoughts in kind of maybe kicking off a discussion. But yes, Eib Subcommittee recommended that the Eib look at it. Eib says, yeah, it fits, and they've sent it to us. You're the policymakers. It's allowable, but is it the right thing to do, I guess, is the question in front of you this evening. So I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Mr. Mayor, I will start by saying this, and anybody can correct me if I'm wrong. Incentives are offered to those companies that want to relocate to Clovis, that want to start a business here. And I always thought that that's what we were trying to do when we offer incentives. If this company was from out of town, or even from town, I don't care. If they're all from here, if they would have come to us at the beginning of the project and say, hey, we're going to do an IRB project, we need some money, we need some funding, what can the city do to help us? I would have gone along with this project. I see some conflicts of interest here on this, especially with this letter of support being signed by one of the members asking for this support. And there's no other signatures here from other hotels other than the same group of people that are doing this. So that's my concern right there, and also with the incentives. The Bank of Clovis is also being partnered with this project, asking for this. Isn't that a conflict of interest? In my opinion, it is. The project is already happening. It's nothing that is new to this community. I appreciate the investors on this, trying to do a project that is going to benefit them as well as the city. But again, I have a problem with that, and I don't. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Mayor,
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
and I don't know, I can't speak for the rest of the commission. I don't know if anybody has had any other hotel operators express opposition or support for this project. Have we heard from any other operators in opposition to this IRB? Or are any of them virtually on, or by phone, or
Yeah.
online?
I'm sorry, this is Mr. Jariwala. We do have a hotel owner who has signed this letter of support. His name is Parth, and he owns the Quality Inn and Suites, and he's joined us right now on this meeting.
Thank you for that, Mr. Jariwala. The question was, but from Mayor Pro Tem, the question was, has anyone on the commission heard
Received
opposition from hotel owners or businessmen?
And has
And I-
anybody-
Mayor Pro Tem, I have
And
not
I
heard
guess
from
not.
either, one way or the other, from any other hotel owners.
I haven't heard from any.
No one's heard opposition,
Okay,
Mr. Mayor Pro
okay.
Tem.
I would like to hear from, what's his name that's on the phone?
Parth,
Parks?
no, Parth.
Sparks, okay.
P-A-R-T-H, Park.
I'd like to go in and hear from him, right, and see what his thoughts are.
Okay, very well. Mr. Parth, we'll give you the floor.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Parth Cheladia. I'm the owner of Polytech. And Mr. Dawal Jariwala approached me about his new project. And he told me some details about the EIB and everything. And I have no objection with that.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you for joining. Yes, Commissioner Madrid.
You know, I've been looking at this thing and, you know, if it was the regular, well, not so much, let me rephrase this. If it wasn't for the COVID-19, we wouldn't have these problems that we have now. All these people are having problems getting, well, not, they got the funding, but they need help. And we helped a bunch of people here. We helped a bunch of people that were on that list with the $4 million, and then they also got help from the government. So I think that since this is a new deal, this is not the regular, you know, it's not somebody that, you know, everybody's having problems because of COVID. You know, the industries, I know that, you know, as far as materials go, my son went and bought some wood to build a porch, and it was expensive. It was about 3 or 4 times of what it used to be. So, anyway, I think I would support this.
Okay.
Mayor?
Thank you for that, Commissioner Madrid. Yes,
I wanted to ask,
Commissioner
Mr. Jariwala, I know that other hotels got support with some funding because they were open. It's my understanding you're not open yet, so you haven't lost any dollar of revenue at this point, correct?
Yes, Mr. Lovett, I appreciate that question, and I would like to respond to that. When absolutely those PPP and they were there to help people who are open, but now you have to consider one aspect of this, that we were heavily invested into this. We are a very small owners. It's our hard-earned money. I'm only 5 years into this business, and we have invested into this business. Imagine that you have budgeted for $1 item, and because of COVID-19, just because you budgeted and you started something before pre-COVID, and now the COVID happens and that goes to $3. This is just a very small example. Even though we are not open, that cost is still bearing upon us. So there is nothing that was written for an assistance in that sense. Now, the idea would have been completely different when COVID-19 happened and we still decided to go ahead and start the business after the whole COVID situation happened, after whole hotel industry happened. I'm a very small investor. When second time around, I would just like to share this on a personal note, by the way. When second time we were asked to come up with the more liquid into the project, or else the project would have been scrapped, I have dismantled my kids' college fund to come up with that, because I was too heavily invested into this to even lose on that, something like that, you know. We know what it is and this is only my personal story. Doesn't have to do, I just want to let you know. And there is a thing out there that says even superheroes need a shoulder to lean on. After all, I'm only a human being, you know. I have been working 16 hours plus every day, Monday through Friday at this hotel. I'm currently at the hotel. My wife is handling the front desk just to attend this meeting. But I've been doing this since March. Do I need a shoulder to lean on? Yes, I'm a human being. Forget about the whole Exenia project. Me as a citizen and as an investor in this project, I have come looking to the city commission for a shoulder to lean on. Because asking me personally, I am tired. You know, I would share something else too, that a hotel IRB has been done before. it has been done before and not challenged in city of Albuquerque. It has been done, by the way, just to let you know. It has been done. The circumstances with this one is slightly different, is that we have not come to show the benefits and anything, like, that we are not trying to show the benefit of the project and to the city. We have come as asking as a helping hand to the city to help us, assist us. So I would like you guys to look at the angle other than benefit, rather than rather than looking as a benefit to the Excedia LLC. I would like you to look at as an assistance to a project that is there, and we are so much invested. If any publicly traded company was happening, they would have turned off the lights and they would have gone back. My goal is only one thing. I have to understand, and I understand it that way, that hey, whenever you're trying to see something and which would benefit both sides or assist one side and assist both the sides, I went around and found out from each and every commission of what was their major concern about this first time around, and we have tried to address that, and we have come and we have proposed something which is a common ground,
Mr. Jarawala,
Yeah.
Mr. Jarawala, thank you for your comments, and did you receive the answer to your question
I
there?
did, and if I could just finish my comment.
Yes,
and then
please,
I'll
Commissioner
turn
Lovett.
it over to other commissioners. I do have a report that shows that, the competitive set of hotels, which most of them are up north where this hotel is located, running 12-month, they're behind from a year ago or from 2019, about 24% less occupancy, which again, I know that that's significant, but I will say the running 3 months, it's down to 21%. And if you look at some of the days in between, they're certainly, there's some days that are less than 2% occupancy difference from 2019, and that's even with the current governor's orders of occupancy percentages. I feel like that by the time this hotel is completed, that we will be run through most of what COVID and how it's affecting the hotels. Out of all respect to Xenia and the Kumars and to Mr. Jariwala and all the other investors, they are very good business people. I believe they will work through this, and they'll work through this with their current bank, and they'll have the ability to succeed extremely well with this property. I also believe that even with the purchase of the Sleep Inn, or what will be the Sleep Inn by the Kumars, is also evidence of the fact that they believe in what's going to happen post-COVID. And they didn't ask for help to purchase that property or to remodel that property. And they believe that it's going to be, they purchased it because they knew it would be profitable. There's no for-business or for-profit business that I know of that would purchase a property that they don't expect to turn a profit. So I feel like that it will be taken care of. I feel like that this will, you give it about, and again, let me just ask Jariwala, or Mr. Jariwala, when is the date that it's going to open? When is the proposed?
We were expecting the end of third quarter, but it might open, provided there is no logistics delays or anything like that, at least by the end of fourth quarter or something like that, by the end of in midst of fourth quarter. But I also want to respond to exactly your reports. You are amazing in analysis, you're a banker and everything, but I would like to go back and just point one thing. The properties that Commissioner Lovett has mentioned, they have got to buy that piece of wood at $1. I just want to let you guys know. The piece of wood, what I'm talking about, and the reason that we are approaching for assistance is gone up to $3 with the inflation. For any project to make sense, the cost of building has to make sense with the revenue that we do. Those hotels are already built at the cost that was perfectly set and the way pre-COVID, it was. But the reason that we are coming to you for assistance is because of the inflation of the cost of building. And it is almost $1 million, it's reaching $1 million higher than what this whole project is based out of. Or else why would a Bank of Clovis would have approached us that, hey, this project does not make sense, and if you want to continue building this project, then you need to come with more liquid money. Why would they have done that? They would not have done that. And not just that part, but also the cost of building it. So we are not trying to benefit at all from the city. We don't intend to, and I would really point that out. Mr. Lovett said really smart thing, and I would like to thank him for at least acknowledging us as a very smart decision. Thank you very much. You know, we are good. We are good at that. But at this juncture, we need help. Like I said, superheroes need a shoulder to lean on. We are only a human being. We are looking for a shoulder to lean on just so that we can go along with this project and we can generate revenue for the city as well.
Mr.
But
Jarawala,
at this juncture, thank you.
Mr. Jarawala, thank you. And Commissioner Levitt, did you get an answer to your question?
I did, and thank you. And just to finish up, and I apologize, it's made a short story long, but you know, with the completion not even being till the end of the year, there's a long way to go. We've got the vaccines working. We see the amount of COVID cases in Clovis being down dramatically, and we see that across the country. We see Texas being just across the border of being just about fully open, and they're able to conduct business. And I believe that we will see the opening here in Clovis soon, and we'll be back to business. Just to ask our Mr. Howalt, I'm put you on the spot, but I know that we have a restaurant that's coming in and being built, brand new, that they chose to come in after COVID has been diagnosed in our area, Dion's. Have they come to us asking for any help at all?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. Commissioner Lovett, no, I have not heard from Dion's asking for any assistance.
Okay. And so they understand the cost of the build, and they put their pencil to it, and they decided that they could be profitable here in Clovis, and they come to build all on their own without help asking for taxpayers. And that's what we're doing here. We're making a decision. We're saying, taxpayers, we want you to fund, at least in the years of 100%, $55,000 of this for the 5 years, and then it starts being decreased after that. And I can't ask the taxpayers to do that, and so that's why my vote will be no.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Casals.
I forgot what I was going to ask.
I was going to say, a while back, you wanted the floor.
I called for the question.
Okay. All right. Do we have a motion?
That's it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
We need a motion in a second.
I make a motion.
Okay,
That
motion
we-
from Commissioner Casals, and did I hear something over here?
I second it.
We have a motion from Commissioner Casals.
Just for clarification, Mayor, the motion is for approval?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Howalt. Motion to approve from Commissioner Casals, second from Commissioner Madrid. Commissioners, please vote. And by a vote of 2 in favor and 5 against, the motion fails. Commissioners, moving on in the agenda, we have nothing under unfinished business, and so we'll look at new business. The first item there this evening is request for approval of Allsup's liquor license transfer of ownership. Mr. Morris.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. So BW Gas and Convenience Retail LLC, which does business as Yesway.
Mr. Morris, can you get the microphone closer to you?
Is that better?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Not that I can hear, but people at home might want to listen to what you're saying. What?
Appreciate that.
What?
So, thank you again, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. Yesway, which is a corporation titled BW Gas and Convenience Retail LLC, as you all know, purchased a number of Allsup's locations. 11 of those Allsup's locations are located in the city limits and have dispenser-type liquor licenses. Those 11 locations are as follows: 1020 Mitchell, 1500 Mabry, 2600 West 7th, 1220 West 7th, 720 East First Street, 2021 North Prince, 1302 North Prince, 3500 North Prince, 2021 West 21st Street, 700 South Prince, and finally 1401 Norris. Yesway has applied for a transfer of liquor licenses for each of those 11 locations. As part of that application process, the State Alcoholic Beverage Control Department has granted preliminary approval. They sent us that back in December of 2020, and we are now required to have a public hearing for the transfer of each of those 11 licenses. We are within the 45-day mark. Notice has been published twice in the Eastern New Mexico News as required by law, and so tonight before you is a public hearing. Because the application grouped all 11 locations together, I think it would be fine, and in the interest of time as well, to hold the hearing, just hold one public hearing related to all 11 locations. Again, they all are the same owner, BW Gas and Convenience Retail LLC. The attorney for that group is on the phone tonight and able to answer any questions if need be. So with that, Mayor, I guess I would turn it back over to you to begin the public hearing. I would remind the commission, especially our two newer commissioners, that with respect to the public hearing, the criteria to grant or to disapprove the licenses is whether or not the issuance would be detrimental to the public health, safety, or morals of the residents of Clovis, and you have to have evidence that the specific owner of those 11 retail locations or the specific location would cause the detriment to the public health, safety, or morals of the residents of Clovis. And so again, with that, I would turn it over to you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Morris, for that explanation and the recommendation that we hold one public hearing. With that, I'm simply announcing we have moved into the public hearing.
Thank
There we
you.
go.
Make it formal, sir. Thank you.
Yes. And so now we are in the public hearing. So we will pause for a moment to see if there's anyone from the public or anyone that has comments, questions, or concerns related to the applicant and or these locations.
Mayor,
Yes.
there's been no opposition to it.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, so unlike the 300-foot site distance waiver where we typically mail out notice to individuals that are within that 300-foot proximity, we don't request comments. We simply need to publish the notice of tonight's hearing and then invite the public to join us tonight. So to answer your question, no, we haven't received any opposition, but also we haven't solicited any responses.
Okay, well, it's been that way for many years, so.
Correct.
That's all I need to know, if there was any opposition, but that's good.
Okay. So we are still in the public hearing, pausing for anyone that has questions or comments or concerns related to these applicants or to this applicant's addresses. We will need a motion and a second and a vote to end the public hearing.
Make a motion to end the hearing.
Commissioner Garza?
Oh, okay.
Senor-
Who said it over
seniority?
here? Motion to end the public hearing from Commissioner Casals.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Lovett. Commissioners, please vote.
Okay. Roll call, please.
The seconder was Commissioner Lovett.
There it is.
By a vote of 7-0, the motion is carried. Now we're back to the item and need a motion and a second for approval.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to the transfer of ownership.
Second.
Okay, motion to approve from Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, second from Commissioner Garza. Please vote. By a vote of 7-0, the motion is carried. Thank you, commissioners. Let's see, that second item there, we moved and dealt with somewhere else. So we are at item 3, or, well, now the second item under new business. Request for approval to appoint one citizen member to serve on the Water Policy Advisory Committee. Ms. Burrows.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. Good evening. James Ridling, who was serving on the Water Policy Advisory Committee, was actually elected to the Curry County Commission and therefore had to resign from the committee. The position was advertised, and we have received 3 applications from Michael Lusk, from Thomas Martin, and from Marcus Smith. And all 3 gentlemen are on Google Meet tonight to speak with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burrows, and I think we will take them in the order you mentioned their names. I think Mr. Lusk will give you the floor first.
Okay, good evening, City Commissioners, and it's a pleasure to do what I can to serve in this community, to better it for all its citizens.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate your willingness to serve, and we appreciate you joining the meeting this evening. If you'll hold on there, we may have some questions for you. So next we'll go to Thomas Martin. Mr. Martin, thanks for joining us this evening, and I'll give you the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. Yeah, I think it's the biggest thing facing Clovis and the area. As a part of a business here locally, I'm born and raised, and my wife born and raised, and her family being here and for generations. The Clovis means a lot, and it only can exist with water. So I think just being a part of board, being a part of solutions that the board comes up with is intriguing. It's interesting to me, and yeah, I'd appreciate the board's consideration. But I know, the 3 applicants, the fact that we've put our hats in, we're all gonna put our best foot forward, and just appreciate the consideration. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Appreciate that. And now we will give the floor to Dr. Marcus Smith.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. Thanks for having us on tonight. I'm Dr. Marcus Smith, and I'm the Director of Counseling and Advising and Government Relations at Clovis Community College. And I'm really looking at this board as a way to get involved at a higher level and get involved in conversations that further the future of Clovis. I know that water is a complex issue, and that's something that's always said, and there's a lot of things with the utility authority and the land trust and the Plyer Lake restoration plan. A lot of things that go into this board, and a lot of decisions to be made, and to be well informed and to do the work and to build on the connections that I've made and that continue to be made through this board and this committee. I'd really like to be involved to be here and plan for the future of our community and for my children and for me as I work in different places that really need this community to grow and thrive, and water is a big part of that. So I'm looking to grow, I'm looking to learn, and hopefully being appointed to this, I can be an asset to the board and make the connections that we need to move certain projects forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Commissioners, do we have interview questions for these applicants?
No, I just want to make a comment. It's very commendable of them applying for this position. And anybody that wants to get involved deserves thanks from me. Appreciate that.
Yes. Agreed. Well, thank you to each of you for your willingness to serve. As you know, only one of you is gonna be appointed to the Water Policy Advisory Committee. But the fact that you all 3 want to serve means that we need you to serve. So So I hope you'll look for other opportunities if this one isn't for you. And commissioners, if we'll fill out our paper ballots, and we'll have those picked up by Mr. Howalt. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll have the results momentarily.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, Dr. Marcus Smith has been appointed to serve.
Congratulations, Dr. Marcus Smith. And again, Mr. Lusk, Mr. Martin, thank you so much for your willingness to serve. And Mr. Martin, I know that you serve on the lodger's tax, and you're certainly a valuable asset to the city and to the citizens there. And we hope that you'll continue to look for places to serve within the city, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Do we need a motion and a second and a vote?
No.
No, we just had the vote. Perfect. Thank you. Sorry, I'm getting tired. Again, congratulations, Dr. Smith. We look forward to your service on water policy. Commissioners, next, we have request for approval to hire additional airport maintenance staff. And Mr. Harris, a regular at commission meetings now, I see has joined us, and we look forward to hearing from you on this. Mr. Harris, I'll give you the floor.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. Okay, here we go again. So, the airport has been operating on essentially a skeleton crew since taking over the FBO services. The additional needs of the FBO has resulted in less attention being given to required maintenance and other duties required for the operation of the airport. During the warmer seasons, landscaping has gotten behind, causing wildlife hazards to flourish in sensitive airports of the area. During snow season, airport staff is finding it hard to keep up with tasks associated with clearing runways, taxiways, ramps for aircraft to safely operate at the airport. The airport is in need of additional airport maintenance technicians to serve in these essential roles. Currently, the airport maintenance department has one maintenance technician and one maintenance supervisor. The duties required to successfully operate the airport and provide the much needed services of the FBO currently exceeds the capabilities of the current staff on hand. Currently, maintenance staff average 30 hours of overtime per person per pay period. That accounts for approximately $33,800 a year in overtime salary. The manpower required to operate the airport in compliance and provide the services necessary for the success of the FBO was underestimated in the past. To increase the staff at the airport would allow for more flexibility in scheduling and off-time of personnel, decrease overtime expenditures, decrease employee fatigue, which will lower the potential for accidents in the workplace, and boost productivity and profitability of the airport. The airport can then also provide the services that pilots and air crews expect when they visit an airport. Are there any questions?
Possibly. Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Okay.
Appreciate that. We'll see if the commissioners have questions for you. I noticed that the fiscal impact is $58,000. Is that right? And I wondered if Mr. Howalt would want to share with us his thoughts on this.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. Like you mentioned earlier, James has become a regular at our city commission meetings. And that's because of his leadership and what he sees in the potential for our airport. You've noticed the amount of grant funding that he started to bring in and the improvements that he's making. And the way I see this is, why wouldn't we fully support that? He's out there trying to take an asset and make it better. He's talking about maintenance improvements to our T hangars. He's talking about keeping the mowing up. He just recently received another grant from the state to purchase a new tractor for out there, plus all the pieces of equipment that go along with that. So I do fully support this. The fiscal impact, we have reviewed it, both Leanne and myself. We feel that it's an accurate fiscal impact to increase that employee or to add that employee. So this is something that I do fully support. He did come asking for 2 additional employees. I said, let's start slow. And so we're going to start with this proposed 1 additional employee, see how things work out, try to generate more business that we have out at our airport. So yes, Mayor, I definitely do fully support this.
Great, thank you, Mr. Howalt. Do we have any questions, commissioners?
I have a comment, Mr. Harris. I want to thank you for your leadership. I think it's important that we give you the resources you need to make improvements on the airport, on the regional airport now. And again, thank you, sir.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Casal, second from Commissioner Garza. Commissioners, please vote. Seven in favor, and the motion is carried. Thank you, Mr. Harris, for joining us this evening and for bringing that before us. And we are very excited about the great things going on at the Clovis Regional Airport. Appreciate you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll see you next commission meeting. I got more stuff for you guys.
Wait. Okay. Very good. All right, commissioners, the last item under new business this evening is request for approval of election of commissioner to represent City of Clovis District 4. And as I mentioned earlier in the meeting, we have 5 applicants, 5 citizens that reside within that district that are willing to serve, that are interested in serving and have applied. And I think that alone deserves recognizing. We have 5 citizens that reside in District 4 that are applying for this position, and that's good news. We're all better because of that. So thank you each for your interest in this position, and we look forward to hearing from you. Mr. Howalt, did you want to add anything in here before I give instructions?
Mayor, you're doing a fantastic job. I'll let you carry on.
Thanks. I need that attaboy once in a while. I appreciate that. So what we'd like to do, I believe it's been explained to you, but just a quick review. We would like to give each of you 3 minutes with which to address us, keeping in mind the commission has had the chance to review your applications and put a lot of thought into this already, but we're interested in hearing from you this evening. We'd like to give you a maximum of 3 minutes to address the commission, and then stand for any interview questions that the commissioners may have. And we'd like to keep it to a maximum of 10 minutes per applicant, if that's all right. And we're going to go in alphabetical order, and it's the order they're in your packet, commissioners. So I would like to invite first Miss Amy Corbin.
First and foremost, I want to thank you guys for the opportunity to be here and speak in front of you. I'm probably going to keep this on the shorter side, so hopefully that goes over well. For those who don't know me, my name is Amy Corbin. I am the director for Clovis Home Care. I have been the director for about 8.5 years now. I have been employed with the company for 19 years altogether. Throughout the course of those 19 years, I have held a variety of different positions, starting at the bottom, working my way up successfully. If you're not familiar with the company itself, we have a total of 4 offices. We provide health services in 9 counties on the eastern side of the state. At any given time, we have approximately 800 clients that we provide services to and roughly 800 to 900 employees. We have an operating budget annually of just north of $10 million, which, you know, again, I have managed myself for the last 9 years. I am not from Clovis. I am a Clovis resident for approximately 20 years now. Moved around a lot growing up because my parents or my dad was in the military. But Clovis is where we always called home. So I spent a lot of time since childbirth here in this great town. Yeah, okay, so that's where we're gonna end it.
Okay. Well,
Any
very good.
questions, I am happy to answer.
We may have some. Again,
Okay.
I'd like to thank you for your interest in this. Thank you for making yourself available to serve in this way. And I know you serve the community in various ways as it is. And obviously, you bring a lot of experience from the business world. And that would certainly be valuable. Commissioners, questions for Ms. Corbin?
I got a quick question. If you're not elected, Amy, are you going to be running for election at our next election?
You know, if I'm being honest, I don't know. This is something that, you know, is fairly new to me.
I understand.
Seeing the vacancy is what initially kind of piqued my interest. I am intimidated by the election process and being a part of that. So I don't know.
Okay, thank you. Again, thanks for your willingness to serve
Yes,
our
sir.
community. Appreciate that. And say hello to Carol for me. I haven't seen her in years.
Yes,
so
sir. I will
please do.
pass
Thank
that
you.
along.
Thank you.
I mean, your reason for wanting to not only serve District 4, but being a city commissioner?
You know, my main thing, actually, there's a couple of different answers. I've been pushing myself to become more involved within the city. Done that over the last couple of years. As far as being a part of the commission, you know, I think what started the interest or even the consideration was just last year knowing so many people that were running. I mean, Leo and of course Mike for mayor, which is unrelated, but knowing so many people personally made it kind of a possibility that I don't know that I would have ever considered before. Again, you know, speaking to, you know, the comment earlier, I don't think that this is something that I would have initially done had it been election-based, but because there is a vacancy that is appointment-driven more so than anything else, that, yeah, give it a try and see what happens.
Have you had any interest in serving on other city committees?
The interest is definitely there. However, it is not something that I have actively looked into. So,
Thank you.
yes, sir.
Any other questions? Yes, Commissioner Madrid.
I want to thank you for being honest on that deal about running it, trying to run again, because it comes up in March of next year.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be pretty fast.
Yes, sir. Well, and if I'm being honest, which I try to do, you know, in the event that I'm appointed for this position through March, I think I would be a lot more open to running in the election just because I've got my feet wet and I kind of know what I'm doing. So,
Thank you. Thank you for applying.
yes, sir.
Thank you, Amy.
Mayor?
Yes, Commissioner Levin.
So Amy, what do you think is the best thing about Clovis? And then on a two-part question, what's Clovis's biggest need?
Oh, goodness. Best thing about Clovis, I would have to say the people. You know, again, I spent a lot of time in the community throughout the years growing up. And it was the only place that I ever felt at home. You know, the people here are always very welcoming and I don't know, I've had the opportunity to live all over the world, being a military brat growing up, and I've never felt so at home. So, as far as what we need, what, your question again?
What's our biggest need?
That's a good question. And I'm going to have the perfect answer about the time I lay down to go to bed tonight. Off the top of my head. I feel as though economic development, of course, is going to be number one.
Sure.
I know, you know, there's continuous talk about people going outside of the community to shop and do business and stuff like that, and we need to figure out how to bring that home. I don't have the magic answer for it, but I would love to be a part of the conversation and help figure things out.
Great responses, so
Thank you.
Yeah, great. Any other questions? We have just a couple of minutes left on this applicant.
Mayor, I do have one more question.
Yes.
Amy, if you are selected as a commissioner, sometimes it takes a little more extra time than people think to be on the city commission. Does your employment allow you to do that?
Yes, and actually, before I made the final decision, I reached out to Carol and Warren both and asked if I would have their support, and they gave me reference letters, so I guess that means yes.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I have more questions.
Yes, Commissioner.
You know that Commissioner Rube served on 9 committees, I think, and they're different times during the day. I think he served on one of them as the senior citizens, and the other one was on parks. And I know because he served on me with parks, and then, so it's different times during the day, it's not, and during the month.
Yes, sir, and fortunately, with me being the director of the organization, I have an amazing management team underneath me that does most of the day-to-day kind of drill-down stuff, so I do have flexibility in terms of my schedule.
Thank you, that's good to know.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And that's a great question, Commissioner Madrid, or a great point to make. Actually, piggybacking on Mayor Pro Tem's comment, it can be very demanding on your time, but just to clarify, we could definitely do some rearranging and some adjusting of the committees. Commissioner Render, as you said, did serve on 9 committees. That's maybe not possible for every commissioner, so it could be that I just wanted you to realize, and the rest of the applicants to realize, you're not automatically on 9 committees. So, but it does speak to the commitment that is involved. So, great question. I'm glad you brought that up. Ms. Corbin, thank you.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate you. Thanks for
Thank
your
you, guys.
interest, and thanks for being here tonight to share with us. All right, next we have Mr. Lynn Culberth. Mr. Culberth, thank you for your interest in this. We appreciate you applying and look forward to hearing from you, and we'll
All right, you're
we'll
more
let
than
you have your
welcome.
3 minutes.
I appreciate y'all allowing me to present. Good evening, Mayor Morris, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. I would like to begin by telling the Commission I have never thought much about being involved in politics. I do not represent a special interest. I do not have an agenda. I am not red or blue. But I do bleed Wildcat purple. I am here for the sole purpose to represent the constituents of District 4 to the best of my ability and improve upon the quality of life of the citizens of Clovis. Being a lifelong resident of the community, I am aware of the issues the city has faced in the past, and I am aware of the issues the city is confronted with currently. Specific to District 4, my job duties require me to interact with the business community daily. which has allowed me to stay informed of the day-to-day activities within the district. Furthermore, my wife is a school nurse at Berry Elementary, a District 4 school. The combination of my work-related networking and community involvement gives me a unique perspective, which enables me to be the best candidate to represent the district. I believe the city of Clovis is at a crossroads. With the pandemic hopefully being controlled and businesses, schools, and other entities opening, the city must become proactive and mitigate the damage that has occurred during the past months. The city must act as the catalyst to draw upon the talents of the citizens of Clovis to move forward and continue to be a vibrant, thriving metroplex. The greatest asset of the city is its people, and city government must be the driving force to enable this asset. The commission must take the lead to unify all entities to take advantage of the many opportunities that will be available. The future is right here, right now. As a candidate for the position of District 4, I would like to be appointed so I can serve the people of the great city of Clovis and be a contributing citizen to the future successes of our community. Thank you, and I appreciate you allowing me to present. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Your timing was
Yeah,
really
you cut
good.
me right off.
Appreciate that, Mr. Colbert. What questions do we have for?
I'm gonna be like a record player here, messed up record player. I will ask the same question to you, sir. I again appreciate your willingness to serve. The question is, if you're not elected, will you be running for the position?
Well, I'm been contemplating. I've had, as you see on my resume, I've had, I'll have 36 full years of service July 1. I'm going to retire July 1 of this year. I've been contemplating getting into government for a while, and I think that, you can't say you're 100% sure right now, but with my retirement, we've been looking around, and I'd like to get, I've been involved in the community quite a bit already, but I'd like to maybe become more involved, and I'm really serious about it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'd give anyone else the opportunity.
I would ask the same question, Mr. Colbert, is what's the best thing about Clovis, and what's Clovis's biggest need?
Well, I put it in my, it's people, I put it right there, I said it, and in my presentation.
Yes.
And right now, we got to be flexible about what the worst thing is or what we need to be done. But it's totally right now, our kids have been slammed. We have to, I don't know what the solution is, but we have to focus on bringing them back. This isolation, I just talked to a college graduate. He's graduated 2 years ago. He went to college. They quarantined, sent them all home. They're all networking at home. And I talked to him, and he's just totally devastated that he's not having his college experience.
Right.
He told me that if it doesn't change, I probably will sit out a year. Next year, he says, I'm thinking of sitting out and not continuing my education. And we have to solve that problem. And we have to do it collectively with everybody on board.
Thank you.
Now it's the same question as well. Does your employment allow you to be flexible?
See, that's a really good question. It's really convenient for me because I'm going to I will retire July 1, and I have lots of annual leave. So I'm totally flexible. I can fit anything in I need because of the amount of time I have that I have to burn before I retire.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Culberth, you listed in your priorities, public safety was first.
Yes.
And I just wondered if you'd talk about that just briefly.
I sure can, yeah. You know, nationally, our public safety has been totally, just, I don't know how, I better not say it, but it's really, they have not been totally disrespected. I guess that'd be the best way to put it. And there's no reason for that. We have to have public safety. And there's gonna be, there is gonna be bad people in every section of life. There's gonna be bad people everywhere. But our public safety, 99.9% of them are good people. And we have to support them and let them know that that the people are behind them.
Appreciate that. Thank you. If there aren't any other questions, we'll let you off of the hot seat.
All right.
But we sure appreciate you applying and being willing to lend your time and talent.
All right, thanks.
Yep. Commissioners? Next, in alphabetical order, is Mr. Raymond Mondragon. Thank you for your interest in the position, your willingness to apply, and we'll give you 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the commission, Mayor Pro Tem. Mayor and City Commission, citizens of Clovis, I am ready to continue to serve. And I put my words on paper because I wanted to stay focused of what I wanted to say, because there were so many things I wanted to say. And I'm ready to continue serving our community as your city commissioner in District 4. I have the experience. As you know, I'm retired police chief, deputy police chief, former interim city manager and former city manager, and retired. And I also have the education. I went through command college at Arizona State University. I went through the FBI National Academy and graduated with the auspices under the University of Virginia. And you have that in my packet, so I'm not going to expand a lot of that in that. I have the knowledge to be appointed city commissioner in the district. I know that I can contribute in discussions to address important issues that affects us all. I have served in this city in numerous capacities. Servitude has been my calling. And that's what my father and mother instilled in us as children, servitude. And that's real important because it is family. All my professional work experiences have been working for the citizens of our community and state. Servitude, I have done that all my life, and if appointed city commissioner in District 4, I will honor my oath in the city's charter, 4.7 of the charter, in serving my district and the community. I have the working knowledge, the experience, the energy, the leadership skills, the communication skills, and the professionalism in promoting effective collaboration, communication, and accomplishing the established goals and objectives set forth by the City Commission. I am ready to serve. I know that I can contribute to making important decisions of our citizens in our city. Public safety, water sustainability for our children's future, continued infrastructure improvements, roads and drainage, park improvements, senior citizen centers, so that we can take care of those that have helped build our future and let us honor their legacy. Supporting and honoring our veterans and supporting our partnership with Cannon Air Force Base and those who serve. Cannon Air Force Base is vital to the national security and plays an important role in the economic engine in our region. Over $711 million in region in economic impact. 9,125 military personnel at Cannon Air Force Base. Every community is our downtown. We have to have our main streets vital to the city's economy and growth, and a paradigm shift is happening. A lot of the communities want to locate on Main Street. So I currently serve on the Eib board, and in conclusion, Mayor and Commissioners, I also serve on the Water Policy Board. I've been involved in source water protection planning and have testified before the Interstate Stream Commission. My father would tell us, when the land is good, you be good to the land. And that was important. Servitude and the many blessings of our good Lord are what carries us. In conclusion, Helen Keller once said, what's worse than being blind is a community without vision. I want to continue serving this city. I want to be a partner in this commission in serving to be part of that vision. And I'll stand for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Mondragon. Appreciate, again, your willingness to serve and your application. Commissioners, do we have questions for Mr. Mondragon?
Mr. Mayor, I think I'm going to start with the same question.
I had a feeling you might.
Here. A broken record here. Mr. Mondragon, thank you for your willingness to serve, and you've been serving this community for many years. And you should be commended for that, and I do commend you for that.
Thank you.
However, I would like to ask the question, will you be applying or running for this position if you're not selected?
I have been interested in politics, as you know. I have run for numerous positions. I served in the Clovis Community College Board of Trustees as chairman, and my intent, my plan is to run for this position in March of 2022.
Okay. Thank you.
Ray, I'm not going to ask the same question because I know you do have the time to serve on many committees that you already serve on. But I know you are employed by Eastern Plains Council of Governments. Is there any conflict of interest within the city with your employment?
It's interesting that you said that because I was expecting that question to be asked, actually. And as you know, the city charter states very clearly conflict of interest and ethics. I also, with the Eastern Plains Council of Governments, I have to abide by the Governmental State Misconduct or Conduct Act, Section 1016. The charter clearly states in the ethics on 9-1 in definitions, disclosure and voting, kind of like what you did earlier on the disclosure and voting. If there's any issues, and right now, Eastern Plains Council of Governments are a member of, the city of Clovis is a member of Eastern Plains Council of Governments. Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, if the membership comes before the committee, which it will, it's once a year, please know that if I am selected to be your commissioner in District 4, I will make it clear that I will abstain from any vote regarding Eastern Plains Council of Governments. If it comes before a contract, like we contracted under the CARES Act, I will make it clear and I will abstain on any issue involving Eastern Plains Council of Governments, and I will make that clear for the record.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for the question.
I'm ready just to ask, I appreciate you being here, Mr. Mondragon. I'm not going to ask what's the best thing about Clovis. I think we're going to hear probably the people from everybody, and I agree with that. But you've listed a number of challenges, and you've also mentioned that in your presentation. What is the greatest challenge facing Clovis?
I believe that the greatest challenge right now is what occurred in 2020 with the COVID pandemic. That is very challenging to all of us. It has been. It's challenging to our businesses. If you've noticed on my priorities, I did list, it wasn't listed. I thought it was a trick question, but I listed it under other, number 1, water, the water issues that are plaguing the region and the state. I did list that. Number 2, finances. Number 3, economic development. We have to have the finances, but we also have the economic development with business retention and growth and recruitment. And then I listed public safety.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions or comments for Mr. Mondragon?
And I would have said it's the diversity and the ethnicity of our community.
Okay.
Great answers, and if there aren't other questions or comments, we'll let you off the hot seat, but thank you for your interest and for applying. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioners.
Mr. Mayor, I think I don't see why you call it the hot seat.
You don't see why I call it that?
No, I think it's just the right seat for anybody that wants to serve the community. I think it's just the perfect place to be seated at.
Perhaps I shouldn't have used that funny phrase several times now. I'll be careful not to do that. Next is Miss Megan Paula. Ms. Paula, thank you for your interest and for applying. We're glad to have you here, and we will give you your 3 minutes to address us.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Morris, Mayor Pro Tem Bryan, and Commissioners. My name is Megan Paula, and I am here this evening to ask for your consideration and vote for the District 4 position of the Clovis City Commission. Since moving to Clovis in 1997, I have practiced as a certified public accountant. I received my degree in accounting from Texas A&M University, and after meeting my husband there, we chose to move back to his hometown of Clovis to raise our family. My husband, Eric, has had the honor of working on the family farm alongside his father, and I have had the privilege of meeting and working for hundreds of clients over the years of practicing as a CPA. As a certified public accountant, I am trained in financial statement review, budget preparation, federal and state tax law, as well as small business payroll, consulting, and representation before the federal and state tax authorities. I believe these skills will be an asset to the Clovis City Commission. Through the years, I have seen firsthand the challenges faced by small businesses. I have seen the struggle to make payroll, hire employees, and create a quality product and service, all while watching the markets rise and fall. I know the tremendous challenge businesses have faced during this pandemic, and I wish I could help each and every one rise and build back stronger than ever. I believe this is also the goal of the City Commission, and I would be honored to serve and work to achieve this goal. Although I have loved my work in my various volunteer positions, nothing makes me more proud than my 4 children. Each of my children have been raised here in Clovis through the Clovis Municipal Schools, and I could not be happier with the opportunities they have received while students at Clovis schools. My ultimate goal is to help continue to make Clovis a place where my children and everyone's children want to return to build their own careers and families. Our city is not without its challenges. As we have all learned in the past year, some challenges in the coming years will be new and beyond what we have ever seen before, while others will be problems that we have tackled in years past. I am convinced with the leaders and management team currently in place in the city of Clovis, we will face them all with confidence. I recently read a book by authors James Garlow and David Barton, where they summarize very well my personal character and how I will lead as a commissioner. They state, "Let selfishness not be substituted for service, arrogance for humility, entitlement for hard work, nor personal pleasure for duty and responsibility. I am ready today to use my unique skill set to serve the city of Clovis. I understand the challenge of this position, and I am motivated to learn, grow, and excel as a commissioner of the city of Clovis." Thank you. And I'm ready for your questions.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Do you want to go in the same order?
Everybody looks at you.
I'll
be
go
like I'm
first.
the bell guy over here.
Commissioner, just a moment. I'm going first this time. Ms. Paula,
Please.
you listed public safety as #1 priority. I wonder if you could just talk about that and why that's a priority for you.
I think that's a #1 priority in any city because if people don't feel safe, they don't want to be here.
Great. Thank you.
Can I?
Commissioner Garza.
Can I? Ms. Paula, thank you for your willingness to serve this community. Appreciate that. And the question is the same as everybody else. If not elected, will you be running for the position?
Yes, sir, I will.
Thank you.
Ms. Paula, you're interested in applying for this particular position?
Did you ask what my interest was? I'm a firm believer in the old adage that to whom much is given, much is expected. And when I moved to Clovis 23 years ago, Clovis opened its heart and its doors to me. And Clovis gave me my first home. Clovis gave me my first real job out of college. And Clovis has helped raise my family. So I have been given much by this city, and I'm here to give back.
Okay. And being self-employed, I'm sure you have the time to commit to the commission, correct?
I do. I actually work with two amazing people, and they support me wholeheartedly.
Thank you.
Commissioner Levitt.
What? My turn? Ms. Paul, thank you again for running. You've heard my questions previous, so I'll just ask the same thing. What's the best thing about Clovis? And then you also list the greatest challenge as far as economic development. Do you still stand by that, and can you expand upon that just a little bit?
Sure. So I think the greatest thing about Clovis is the weather, except for windy days and the past week, but also the people. You can't pass that up. And I do believe that economic development is one of our greatest challenges. However, until we can get these kids in school, I don't think we can move forward there. Because I think you have asked so much of the community at this point. I've felt the pain in my own home trying to homeschool 3 children. And I think employers have given so much at this point, trying to be flexible with their employees and allow children to come and do virtual school in the offices. And I don't think until employees can feel certain that they can go to school and they have a safe place for their children to go, that we can move forward with economic development.
Thank you.
Wanted to give anyone else the opportunity? Yes,
Thank
Commissioner
you
Elliott.
for your willingness to serve. And I think you showed number 3 is your finances, which you should have a great background in that, being a CPA. So appreciate you serving, and thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Ms. Paula, thank you for your interest
you.
in your application. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Last but certainly not least, Mr. Stephen Whittington. Mr. Whittington, welcome. We appreciate your interest, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Commission. I'm Stephen Whittington, and I would like to serve as Commissioner for District 4. Because I built and developed subdivisions and homes for over 20 years, I'm keenly aware of the challenges we face to improve and expand our infrastructure. I have volunteered as a New Mexico Mounted Patrol officer for 20 years. I'm a member of the church security team. As a retired New Mexico State Police officer, I know there's an urgent need to reduce crime and keep our neighbors safe. People must feel safe before they can prosper and thrive. If you don't feel safe in your own home, everything else pales in comparison. We must have more highly trained and skilled officers in our police department. We must stop being the training grounds for other agencies. We have to pay our officers a living wage. Right now, Clovis has a 30% vacancy rate, and they're paid 30% less than New Mexico State Police. Officers are on the street up to 1 year with only on-the-job training, and before they must obtain a certification through the academy. By paying such a low wage, Clovis is now spending $10,000 to $20,000 to train these officers to become certified officers, and many of them, after they're achieved this certification, they find another department to work for. When we built Sierra West subdivision on the west side of Clovis, it was the first time in decades we went through zoning, building, infrastructure, streets, fire hydrants, utilities, streetlights, all aspects of installation. We sold the subdivision in 2013, and Lock Haven has since built over 50 houses in that existing subdivision. In the last 20 years, we've improved, remodeled over 50 homes in Clovis, Logan, Ruidosa, Artesia, Edgewood, Pagosa Springs, Colorado, and Texas. In 2016, I ran for county commission and lost by 40 votes. In 2018, I ran for magistrate judge and lost by about 40 votes. My point is not that I'm a loser or that I need 40 more friends, but that I have shared experiences with many people in my district and the city and their concerns, and I know what their challenges are. I've given you letters of support from 22 people: police officers, the sheriff, county commissioner, former district attorney, lawyers, developers, a retired New Mexico Court of Appeals judge, business owners, teachers, real estate investors, who have all encouraged me to seek this position. This is a nonpartisan selection. My loyalty is to the people of Clovis, not to any political party or group. I think my experience with law enforcement, building and construction, the public support qualifies me for this position. Thank you.
And that's not a hard stop if you had.
Oh, no, I'm all done. I'm all done.
Mr. Whittington, we appreciate your interest and appreciate your comments. Talk to me a little bit, if you would, about the thing that you listed as a top priority being public infrastructure, roads, wastewater, landfill. What are your thoughts around that?
Well, it's exactly that. 25 years ago, I did a subdivision on the west side of town, and it took hundreds of thousands of dollars to build this subdivision. And as we laid out the infrastructure, we ended up with 45 houses or lots that we put houses on. And then we sold off. The next phase went right into the second phase of that division, and they've got 50 houses in there now, and they can go up to 65. So infrastructure is like planting a seed in a garden. You know, if you want to have something at the end, you have to get it done. And it's not fun. It's not shiny. It's money that you never see.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Sure.
Commissioners? Commissioner Garza?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Whittington, thank you again for your willingness to serve this community. Thank you for your years of in law enforcement. Appreciate that, sir. The question is the same one as everybody else's. If you're not elected, will you be running for the position?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
My question's pretty well the same. Your interest in running, and do you have available time to do so?
I've since been retired, so I have a lot of time to devote to it.
Okay, and your interest?
I'd really like to do something with the police department. I'd like to see a citizens review type thing.
Okay, thank you.
And over here, Commissioner Levitt?
Thank you, and Mr. Whittington, thank you again for running. And the same questions, you've really answered a lot on the challenges, but I will open that up for you as well. But what's the best thing about Clovis, and what's the biggest challenge?
Well, the best thing about Clovis is this is where I met my wife 37 years ago. And if I didn't live in Clovis, I'd move to Clovis.
Okay, thank you.
Other comments or questions from the commission? Mr. Whittington, we appreciate you, sir. Thank you for your interest and for your application.
Thank you.
Let me get my timer stopped here so that doesn't scare us. Any other thoughts or comments?
Can I make some closing comments, just to thank?
Of course you can.
I just want to say thanks to everybody that are here today to apply for this position. This is a very difficult decision for us. I know most of you, and it's always a tough one. The reason I asked the question if you will run for this position in a year is because it shouldn't be up to us to decide. It should be to the general public and your districts to decide who will represent them the best. But again, thank you for your willingness to serve, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
And Mayor, if I can make one comment as well.
Yes, Commissioner.
I will say that it is a tough decision because all of you are qualified. And to put yourself out there, it is appreciated. And after just running a year ago myself, I certainly understand. And so thank you for being here, and thank you for giving us an opportunity to make this tough decision.
Commissioners, let's cast our votes.
In essence, Mr. Mayor, this is the hot seat.
Yes, now we're on the
In
hot
the
seat.
hot seat.
Fair enough. Let's vote.
Thank you, sir.
While the votes are being counted, I just wanted to mention once again how much I appreciate your willingness to serve, knowing full well what it takes, where you have to go in your mind and your heart to decide that you're willing to do something like this. I sincerely appreciate your willingness and your application. You're all very qualified. The City of Clovis and District 4 would be lucky to have whichever one of you has been selected. And I hope that the other 4 will continue to look for ways to use your time and talent in service to the City of Clovis.
Mayor,
Yes, Commissioner Elliott.
I just want to thank all of y'all. I mean, you're all so qualified. And I think I've been here 7 years, and we've done this a time or two for replace a commissioner, and this is a great group. And praise you guys for coming forward and reaching out to help the City of Clovis. So thank you so much.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, Megan Parler has been elected to serve for District 4. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burrows. Congratulations, Megan Paula. And if you'd like, we'd invite you to make a comment if you like.
Thank you all for your vote of confidence. I appreciate it very much. I will definitely use my skills to benefit the city. And I'm excited to learn from each of you because I know at this point, all of you know a whole lot more than I do. So I ask for your assistance and your help, and I'm here to serve the City of Clovis.
Well, congratulations, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
All right. Let's move on to reports of boards, officers, and committees. One scheduled report there this evening, the monthly investment report. Ms. Leanne Melanson. Ms. Melanson, are you on?
I am on.
Thank you for hanging in there.
Congratulations. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. You have the floor.
All right. Congratulations, Ms. Paula. Look forward to working with you. Always good to have somebody who has the same brain waves as I do. So congratulations. So our monthly revenue and expenditure summary for January 2021. We started the month with 46.5 million, ended at 46.2 million. The part of that decrease is we did pay our property and liability insurance, a little over $1 million in January. So that does account for a portion of that decrease. Overview of some of our funds. General Fund 1, ending balance cash 1.3 million. Solid Waste Fund 2, 4.1 million. Environmental Tax Fund 6, 7.4 million. Economic Development Fund 64, 2.8 million. Our Water Quarter% Gross Receipts Fund 66, 1.4 million. Our Drainage Improvements Fund 88, just a little over 1 million. And our breakdown, we continue with about 23 million in our local banks and a little over 23 million in the state investment pool. Our interest for the month was $4,200. For our 7-month year-to-date, we're at about $64,000. And I did receive our state pool statement, and it is at .1151, so it has gone down again. So we will continue to track that. And also we have our gross receipts report, which for the month, we were down about 14% compared to our actual for this time, and our budgeted, we are still about 9% above. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Melanson. Do we have questions? Like you do every month, you did such a good job there. There aren't any questions from the commission. Thank you for your report, and thank you for what you do for the city. Commissioners, I have some things to report on. Should only be about 45 minutes or so.
Just give me a 5-minute break,
Okay.
and we can do whatever you want to do.
Maybe here by yourself.
I just
I'll be at the back door.
thought I would mention that everyone knows this, but last Wednesday in the state's strategy with COVID-19 and the phased reopen, our county moved to yellow, and that's great news. The numbers seem to continue to trend the right direction, and with vaccines coming online, I hope, and I know we all hope that that there's a change in the state strategy, but certainly I think the way things are going, we could be looking at entering the green if things keep going as well as they are. And I wanted to mention, if you haven't tracked the daily hospital report, those numbers continue to decline. And there were only 4 COVID patients in the hospital this morning, and that was a low for months now. Vaccinations are complicated, or actually the supply is complicated, but we have great leaders, great folks on that job and getting vaccinations out in Clovis. It's so important that if you want the vaccine, that you go ahead now and get registered, and you can do that at vaccinenm.org. Getting registered now will help us to demonstrate the need so that we can keep vaccine doses coming out this direction. So I encourage the public to get registered for that vaccine, even if you feel like you're in a later phase and it's not quite your turn. If you would get registered, it would help. So I wanted to mention that, and that's it.
Well, can we also mention the fact that it's free? It's no charge for it. I think some people might be hesitant to show up for the vaccine or register for the vaccine, whether it's they don't know how to register, and they think it's going to be a cost associated with that. So
there's no out-of-pocket costs to the vaccine. If you have health insurance, your health insurance will take care of any of the administrative costs that the providers may charge, but there is no out-of-pocket cost to anyone, whether you have insurance or not, for the vaccine. Thanks for bringing that up, Commissioner. Yes, Commissioner Elliott.
Yeah, Mayor, I tell you what, I just encourage everybody to take the vaccine. It's available, and they are so accommodating. Roden Smith and the whatever the other organizations are, they're just doing a great job. Whether you go through there, and if you're there 30 minutes, that's long, but they get it done, and it don't hurt. You got a little pain in your arm, maybe a headache, but that's over in a few days. And I think this is going to be the catalyst that gets rid of this stuff. People spreading it, and we can quit wearing these silly masks and running around like that, and we can all get together and hug and shake hands and do all kinds of stuff. So I'm excited about our healthcare workers and Roden Smith and all